Vidar Liram,
Yes.
Sam Corum,
Yes,
Sarah Stevenson.
he's not here.
She apparently,
She had her, like I said, her husband had a bad accident. I met her right outside, and she she saw me coming in, and she said, "Take this, please. I've got to go."
David Blair.
here,
John Helge is excused. Roll call complete.
did you get Sam?
Yeah,
All right, I'm sorry.
I'm here.
We do have a meeting, enough people for our meeting.
Okay.
Moving forward. Everybody's got a copy of the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of short and sweet because I was just focusing on getting things ready for Arbor Day and a few other things here. But is there any changes to the agenda that anybody wants to suggest or make? If not, agenda's approved. Citizen public input, I see nobody here from the citizens or public, so we'll move on with that. Well, you guys are part of that group right there, so have you got a comment? Okay. Okay, next step, everybody's had a copy of the minutes from the last meeting. Have they had a chance to review it and look at it? Any comments, changes, questions?
Katie, I have a question. Did we add anything about the? No? Okay.
And I'm sorry I missed you during the roll call.
Yeah,
You're here.
yeah, I'm here.
Did we miss any what?
The thing about the 13 trees. But if it's already been reviewed, I don't know how to get it addressed so that, I know Sarah and I talked about it, so.
So if, please correct me if I'm wrong, but Katie called the local vendor that has been our only bidder for the past probably 4 or 5 years. They're local, and we asked them if they would check on the availability of the 5 species that were approved at the last meeting. They were the native trees, is that correct? And they checked with their nursery sources and supplies and determined that 4 of them were readily available and 1 would be difficult to get. So as we had discussed, I believe last month, those are the now 4 tree species that are available for this current round of planting. And then I think we were going to look at some additionals to be able to add to that list, and we certainly can do that. They won't be a part of this round of this year's planting, but they certainly could be part of the future.
A little bit of confusion. This is what's going out right now to the public. There's 5 trees on there.
And one of them is not available.
Oh, okay, okay.
And so
Which one?
the one.
The American Mountain Ash.
Okay.
Oh, that's not available?
Okay.
So we've had one person that's requested that, and Katie will call him back and either give him the opportunity to not plant a tree or choose a different species.
Okay. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. Oh, wow.
All kinds of goodies in there, aren't there?
Andy?
Okay, if there's no other comments and so on,
So did Liz, did she get back with anyone about what she would like to collaborate on?
Liz?
Lasky?
not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Who is that?
She is actually she's
On
on the city council,
She's on city council and on the Parks Commission,
parks.
and I believe she was suggesting that there could be some collaboration in looking for funding sources to be able to add trees along the US 31 corridor when NDOT reconstructs that.
Well, is that the same person who was on the beautification committee that was talking to us?
She's on the beautification now.
I can reach out to Liz and see what she's talking about.
There is no beautification committee, but she's on Parks and City Council.
Yeah, it's the,
NRBC.
city
Oh,
Yeah,
NRBC,
she's on that.
NRBC.
neighborhood,
No, that's different.
and then our Neighborhood Restoration and
Beautification.
Beautification Commission.
Okay.
You want to copy that?
Sorry.
Just wondered.
Now, I guess as long as we're talking about questions, I've got a curiosity question also. The Manistee non-motorized park, I didn't know we had one.
We certainly do,
And it's owned by the city, right?
correct.
Yeah, okay. So I would say that his request, if I had to make a decision, I'd deny it. I like the trees out there already. I don't know what the outcome was, just a comment and so on. But yeah, I was, looked up a little bit of history on that, and I was surprised that at one time the city was thinking about making that an airport out there. 173 acres out there. Along Highway 55.
If I remember right, Chris was going to look into the possibilities of if we take down a number of oaks, large oaks, that would figure out if that could be done without any cost to the city, because we would need to find someone who was willing to pay for the oaks.
For the removal of them or the recovery of them?
Yeah, so that the cost of taking them down would be compensated by selling the
Oh, so that was
wood.
where, the direction he was going?
So a little bit of history, and I can't remember honestly, it feels like it's been forever since we met. You are correct, that land was deeded to the city by the state of Michigan, and at the time for specific uses, so there's restrictions on the deed for that. And the city and the county at one time looked at it for possibly building an airport in that vicinity. It's sat vacant for years. There was a proposal that was put forth by the community to build a large recreational center out there, but it was deemed to be too expensive. The city had several of those parcels. One of them, we got the deed restrictions lifted by the state and got clear title, and then the city built the Renaissance Industrial Park on that. There are several other parcels just south of that are under purchase agreement by private entities to acquire and do some development. But the 173 acres of the non-motorized park, what happened is the city manages all those forestry lands with a professional forester. And so for many decades, there's been a forestry management plan. And probably about 15, 20 years ago in that time frame, the recommended forestry plan was that the oaks be thinned out. And so they hired a tree logging company went in there and thinned out all the trees, and then the city made some money out of that. Not a tremendous amount, but it was to keep the tree canopy healthy out there. At the time, there was a dedicated there was a dedicated non-motorized commission, and we brought the idea of creating a non-motorized park out there. And what we did is use the logging roads as the main trails, and then there were small connectors that were made to create the loops. And then there were a number of trails that were put out there, and it's all been maintained by voluntary use. So I think it's okay, in my personal opinion, to trim trees back for the use of that non-motorized. But I think that the width that had been proposed at the last meeting is extremely wide and would kind of create a very large corridor through there, but.
Jerry, are we on this agenda tonight?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I think the comments are coming from the minute review.
I was coming
We're
back,
looking at this right
I
here,
was coming back off of.
right here. Chris Riley, was it that?
Copy of the minutes?
Yeah, right here.
Okay,
Chris Riley, and they're talking about this non-motorized park.
I was just following up out of curiosity as to what that was,
Oh, okay.
where we stood on that.
I thought it was crazy expensive.
Yeah, it's just something that I was looking at it too and thinking about it, and Jeff was filling his.
Thank you, Sam. I had no idea where this was coming from.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. So Jeff was just filling us in a little bit about the history on that out there.
So I think you're on approval of minutes, correct?
This is
Yeah,
talking
so
about.
we're at,
And I ask about,
Well,
so unless there's some more comments, approval of last month's
oh,
meeting
yeah,
minutes.
yeah, way too wide, yeah. Yeah.
Do I hear any objection to approval of the minutes for last meeting? No? Moving forward then. Okay, the next unfinished business, we got through most of it at the moment, I think. So we'll move on to new business. Vitter has just a little bit of an update on the Michigan DNR grant for trees and so on. Vitter, you want to tell us that little bit you've got?
Yeah, I got an email from Tyler Dula, and he says that the DNR, the Forest Service, have reviewed their internal grant programs and cleared the urban and community forestry funds. So that means
That's great.
that we can move forward with full implementation of the grants in Michigan. So we have just submitted a small reimbursement request for indirect and some of my time to test the waters with the payments department. So Tyler is not like 100% sure that,
No.
so he's kind of testing. If they pay now within 30 days, that means that we're good.
We're good.
He is also working with an attorney to review the contract with Great Lakes Urban Forestry. They are going to do that inventory. So that's in preparation. He says he is hoping that we have an executed contract with GLUF, which is that Great Lakes Urban Forestry, in the coming weeks. So that means that they can get started on the inventory. And then the next thing for us is to, when we can discuss that in our next meeting, I guess. But we then need to look at the part of the program that we are responsible for. So that's outreach to public and so forth. It's specified in the grant proposal.
Okay.
That's great news. Great news.
It is.
So,
Now, one thing that's, I don't know why I bring it up now or not, but the trees we planted along 8th Street, do we have any more responsibility for that? Such as perhaps informing the folks that had trees planted in their yards, in front of their yards, as to what the requirements are for watering them and stuff like that? Because I know we went through there and planted those through that grant we had on that. Do we have any responsibility, or should we make ourselves responsible to put a handsheet out to these folks and say, water these things, once a week or something like that? And I don't know, in my mind, it seems like maybe there's some of those homes that were planted in there, could be renters. They may not want to go out there and water them because it goes onto their water bill. Just some crazy thoughts like that.
My understanding is that with this big new grant we have, the outreach includes finding or defining local groups of citizens that we can communicate with.
Okay.
If we get that established, that has been done before, like neighborhood committees or something like that?
Yeah, I think the question I would have, maybe you can answer that, Vidar, is when we did that project, did we contact those addresses?
We didn't, because.
It was,
Remember, it
yes,
was like
okay.
1 week where it happened.
yeah, so there wasn't any
Right.
direct communication with them. With our annual tree planting program, people choose to have a tree planted, and so they're pretty educated and they're invested in it.
Yeah,
This one, we'd never received the notice that we received the grant, and they followed up, well, Vidar contacted them, and they said, oh, you've got like 2 weeks
Yeah.
to get them planted and accept it, and so it was kind of a rush. So, yeah, I guess it wouldn't hurt to even put together just a little flyer, and
yeah.
You guys know what
We
I'm
could
talking
hand-
about on that, so.
No.
Oh, you don't?
I don't know what happened on 8th Street.
Okay, we got the grant to plant, what we planted, about 18 or 20 trees. If you take a ride down 8th Street.
15
going on-
trees. 15 trees.
15 trees. I will give you a copy of the deal and so on, so you know what I'm talking
Okay.
about. But we ought to think about what we have to do if we want to do something, to go out there and at least hand a paragraph out to the folks that are saying, these trees need to be watered if you want them to live, through the hot spells and so on, to keep them moist through the first year here anyway.
Are they bagged?
They are bagged, right? Correct? Yeah,
Yeah.
they are, right.
yes.
And they're staked and so on. We did all that during the snowy season last November, wasn't it?
It was November.
Yeah. It was there one day, not there one day, and there the next day, so that's good. Okay, but anyway, I'll catch you up on that, Sam,
Okay.
as to what it was. And we'll go from there.
Yeah, it's a good thing you mentioned that. We should put together a flyer.
Yeah, something like that, just to let them know that the trees are there and that they need to be taken care of if we want them to, survive.
You want me to look into that then?
If you would, and if you want somebody to give you a hand onto it, or,
I can look into it, but, and then when we get to that next step on that big grant, we need to start looking into possibly forming neighborhood committees.
okay,
And then that neighborhood committee. So what happened when I put together that little grant, I call it a little grant and a big grant, the $3,000 grant, I think it was. I talked to one resident who is on 8th Street. And she, my understanding was she talked to other people around there. There's like that bar there that's like the hub where people meet, So I think that it should be possible to start there with a neighborhood committee. And then we need to look at, but this is probably something we need to talk to the city manager about, I guess.
Well, I think we've got to let the Conservation District start fully implementing that program once
Yeah.
they're confident that the grant's going.
Yeah.
And then we can kind of systematically go through the different steps, and
Yeah,
we can do some public notifications and look for people that are interested, and, yeah.
okay. But in the meantime,
in the meantime, we're
let's
on
see if we can put a little flyer
See what we
together.
can do on 8th Street here,
Yeah,
and what we might have to do.
okay.
Okay. Okay, now, next item, we've got just a quick update on tree species and tree planting. Anything more to add? I know I was talking to Katie there, and she says we got about 25 trees,
More today, so yeah, 25.
so we're kind of,
We're in good shape.
okay, good. Okay, so going on is,
What is the deadline for that?
The orders were the 11th.
no, I think it's this Friday. Was it this Friday? or
No, it was the 11th.
11th, you're right.
So the,
So Friday, last Friday.
so it's passed.
Yes, so the ordering is complete, and then the contractors.
And then we're advertising for a contractor to plant those.
Right.
So we try to do a cutoff so that the contractor had a good idea of how many. If somebody calls, we're not going to shut them off. We can still add them to the list, but we had kind of set that soft deadline as last Friday. The contracts to plant them are due towards the end of this month so that I can put it on the first agenda in May.
Okay,
And then we'll give them the month of May to plant.
sounds good, sounds good. Okay, next item up is Arbor Day's discussion as to what we're gonna put in our articles of paper for Arbor Day.
Well, yeah,
know Sarah have been working on that, so
well,
let
have,
you take it.
I have this from Sarah, and I've only got this one copy. But basically, it's the last year's. And so I'm gonna get with her tomorrow and ask if she has something written up, but what I do notice are a couple things. The location, we know is there a number? Is there a cross street at that? park?
Lighthouse Park?
Yeah, what I suggested is along Cherry Street between Lighthouse Park and the resident at the corner of Cherry and Harbor Drive. It's
Dr.
where the
Frank.
disc golf kind of starts.
Yeah.
So just filling that in a little bit. That it doesn't have to be there, but I thought that would be a pretty prominent place, and it's a location that we've talked about tree plantings in the past.
So someplace I've seen, we've decided to put a red maple out there, or sugar maple.
Yeah, if you guys select one of the 4 species that are available, then we'll get that ordered and have the,
We already ordered a sugar maple.
I'm sorry, I was corrected. We've already ordered a sugar maple.
Okay, that's what I thought. I thought
Okay.
I saw some notes coming across
Thank
my
you.
desk and computer there.
And then would 1:30 be okay?
For the planning of it and the picture of it, this is gonna be picture and planning on April 26th, right?
25th,
25th,
April
okay.
20, is,
a
okay,
Thursday.
okay.
So it's gonna be 1:30.
And this one was at 1, but I figured if there's the cruise, do your crews typically have lunch noon to 1 or?
You can do it whatever time you want. What we did for last year's was we had the contractor dig the hole, set the ball of the tree in there, put enough soil around to keep it moist, and then we left just kind of a ribbon of soil around it, so ceremonially you can put
Okay.
the last few scoops of dirt back in it.
Oh, okay, yeah, I missed last year's.
So my-
Sounds good. So,
My question is, who would want to attend this? Jeff, are you going to be there?
I'll plan on being there, yes.
Okay.
And the 25th is on a Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
I thought that's what I had.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's great.
that's better yet,
Yeah.
right?
It is for me, yeah.
Okay,
So how many trees would we plant there?
just one.
One tree,
Just a ceremonial tree.
ceremonial tree.
David, would you be there? No?
I can try to be, I think John wanted us all to try to make it to that. Where is it going to be again?
Right at the Lighthouse Park, between there and the disc golf course.
Do you know where the disc golf course is on Cherry?
Yeah.
So right close to hole number 1.
I'll be there.
Okay.
And the time on that's going to be at 1:30, did you say?
1:30? Is that what we're all talking about, 1:30?
1:30?
Sure.
Peter?
Whatever time you would like.
1:30 works okay with me. I
And what
guess.
about the newspaper and so on?
Well, that's what we are getting the information
Okay, so,
for the release.
okay,
Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm trying to get the names, I'm trying to get the time, the location, and the rest of it is about, you know, trees are an asset, Tree City is a program, you know, a lot of it's already
so you
boilerplate.
guys are in pleasure last year.
Like a good idea, just get the names and the addresses, right?
Okay,
Okay,
We had gotten that one email from John saying that that proclamation fulfills one of the requirements for our application for
Yeah.
the 2025 Tree City recognition. Do we
Yeah.
know what that full list of things is?
Yes, John put all that stuff out there, and I think the proclamation was the main thing. The planting of the tree
Yeah.
and the little ceremony was the next big thing.
On Arbor Day, yeah.
And the rest is just kind of fluff and muff.
So those are the only two main criteria?
Right,
Yep,
right. Are you guys taking that same way I'm reading it?
yeah.
Okay. Jeff? Sounds good? Okay.
So I'll take an action, as it were, to get with Sarah, got one of those, and ensure that we have this press release probably in the paper a week ahead of time, which gives us 3 or 4 days to put it out.
Right.
This week.
Okay.
It should go out this week.
Nick, do you have another one of
That's
those
next
green
week.
Tree City papers?
Nope, I just got the Tree City, I got
The press release
one
should go
copy
out
of
this
everything
week
here.
because it's next week.
Yeah,
So-
my only suggestion would be get it out, get the press release out as soon as we can,
ASAP.
because it's coming up fast.
All right. All right, I'll make sure that I get to that tomorrow then.
Okay.
I think last year you also, we also invited city council.
Yes,
And that can be done just by email. I mean, that's pretty easy.
and
That's correct. We did invite.
could we, Katie, could you help with that? Okay, great.
In fact,
I will try to get a note out and then I'll CC everybody on the commission, what's going on.
in fact, this is what you had, right?
Yeah, that's what I got.
Right, so it does mention the folks that we invited last year,
Yeah,
you know, the city manager and Jeff and,
Maybe city council.
any city council members that might want to do it.
Yeah.
Or at least invite them,
Invite them, yeah.
yeah, so they have the opportunity to come down there. What's
oh, I
that?
thought that was what was in hers. Were there multiple copies?
No, this is mine. This is one I had from
Is it on
last year.
Cherry Street?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sam, did you, I mean, Vidar, you got that, right?
no,
With your consent, this Thursday, I also have a Parks Commission meeting. And it's in a city, we're planning that in a city park. I think it'd be appropriate if I invited them also. I can do that at the meeting.
yeah, they were invited last year, so we
They
should
Okay.
were,
invite them.
Right. Okay, so we got all that, people invited and everything else.
So this press release, though, I mean, is it gonna, I mean, it sounds like that the News Advocate's gonna be there to take a picture of this tree planting, so I mean, it's not gonna happen before Arbor Day, because that tree planting's on Arbor Day, right?
Right, but the announcement, the press release is an announcement.
Got it.
Of the,
So they'll have the announcement, and then they'll have a follow-up article they'll write with
kinda like
the
you
picture.
get it publicly and then people can put it on their calendar.
Yeah, with any luck, they'll do like a little pre-article that invites people to come down and help celebrate, and then plant the tree on that Friday, and typically they'll post pictures of that, at least online and stuff.
Are you gonna need help with this at all?
Do what?
Will you need help with this? You and Sarah?
Let me ask Sarah, Sam, because I was waiting for her on this. and
Okay.
The fact that,
Sure.
yeah. Okay.
We're all set? Okay. Why don't you pass that down to David? He said he wanted to copy
Yeah,
it.
sure.
Yeah, if you got an extra, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, any more discussion on the,
No, I guess we got
I
that.
think we got enough together here to pull it together, huh?
Right?
Okay. So it's in your hands. If you need something else, give me a call too, and I'll jump in
Yeah,
there.
absolutely.
Give you
Yeah.
10 cents worth too.
It looks like this comes out of there,
Yeah.
like this all, whoops, comes out, basically.
Sam,
And
can I
what
get
you're
your
gonna do,
phone number? Just,
yeah,
What are we talking about there, Sam?
231-794-8834.
yeah, great.
Yeah, so when you write that, yeah, this is all gonna be changed.
Right, right. That's what I'm saying. Some of it's,
Some of it applies, and
Boilerplate.
some of it,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
what I got was location, time, people.
Yeah.
That was, got to be changed.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Any comments from the commission here, members?
Well, I've got 15, 13-year-olds waiting for practice, so.
Okay.
I've got just a couple things I'll do real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Sure.
Number one, the city purchased a new boom truck. It was delivered last Thursday, I believe, and we're getting our technical training on it from the manufacturer or supplier Wednesday. So that'll give us a little bit more capabilities in our forestry work, and certainly with some, in a safer manner. We're caught up on all the trimming and the cutting that's been approved by the commission for the year, although those requests, still roll in. And then I should have a quote tomorrow for the treatment of the tree of heaven that was approved for removal at the corner of Fifth Avenue and Short Street.
Okay.
The contractor is going to basically drill the trunk of the tree, inject it with the chemicals. He said that it's really the perfect time of year to do it, and he said the tree will probably leaf out, and then the leaves will drop off as it stresses, and may even try to bud out a second time. But by this fall, it should be good to cut down and remove. He's also going to give us a quote for the dozens and dozens and dozens of tree of heaven that's located out at our compost site, and believe that we could probably do a ground treatment on those because they're not surrounded by other valuable trees, so they can basically put the poison, if you will.
Juice.
You land apply it, and then you let the roots absorb it into the system, and kind of the same program that way. But it's a lot easier and less expensive to do that. So, but he was going out to the site today to do final confirmations on that.
One little interesting tidbit I found out when I did some research on it. That tree actually came over from China, like in 1792. Brought over here at that time because it was a nice, fast-growing one, and they did it in areas where there was erosion and stuff like that. And then on the West Coast, it came over when the Chinese came over to help build the railroads and so on the West Coast, coming in from that side, from the Union Pacific and so on. So the tree's been around here for a couple hundred years.
Once you know what it is, you see them everywhere,
Okay?
everywhere.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Pretty
So-
hardy tree.
What is the problem with it again?
The tree.
Invasive.
It's invasive tree. What do they call it? Tree of heaven?
Tree of heaven.
Yeah.
Just goes crazy, making shit.
That's it.
Trees off the roots.
You've heard of willow trees? I kind of picture it like a willow tree when you
Yeah.
get it from the roots just going all over the place.
Kind of looks like a sumac.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Supposedly in the spring.
It's got small green leaves, and then like a red, I don't even know what you would call it, red bud types on it, or
Supposedly it has an odor to it. also.
An odor, that's what I remember, yes.
Yeah. Right. Okay, if there's nothing else, meeting adjourned. Thank you, guys.
thank you.